Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the FauxShow. Today is Sunday, February 1st. My name is Angela.
And my name's Noah.
And as most of you know, the FauxShow is not a real show. It is a social experience because I don't look at you. I look at the chat room which I have here on my iPad.
I have the chat room on my laptop.
Full screen on his screen. It's over there on a monitor where we can see ourselves, but Noah, do you know where else it is?
I think it's on the best lower thirds of the internet.
Yep, right there. And today's title, right below his hand, is Meet Noah.
I'm Noah.
Obviously, this is not Chris. Noah is the new co-host for the Linux Action Show. And right now, we are in the middle of a Linux Action Show sandwich.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the FauxShow is in the middle of a Linux Action Show sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing.
All
so
right.
We are going to talk about how we met Noah, how Noah came to be part of Jupiter Broadcasting, and just some things about Noah. I'm sure you guys have questions in the chat room there in the lower third. So a lot of you know him as having the Google Glass. So maybe you have questions about that, or maybe about his business, which is his day job. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to all of that. But first, I want to talk about how we met. So a couple years ago, was it 2?
It was 2 years ago. Yeah. It was 2013 was the first time.
First time
at Linux Fest Northwest.
Yep, Noah came to Linux Fest Northwest with your friend Matt?
Alex.
Mm-hmm. Just another, okay. Yes, with Alex. And we were there and we met him and he had like all this gear and we're like, wow, who are you, you know?
Well, prior to that, I had sent numerous emails to your husband saying, hey, you mentioned that you wanted people to help come film interviews. I can help with that. But, you know, his email's like a black hole, so it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
So we just eventually got a hold of Matt, and he said, yeah, I'll pass it on to Chris. So I think you kind of knew, or Chris kind of had half of an idea that we were coming. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then you showed up, and I said, and the first words out of your mouth, the first thing you ever said to me was, what's your handle in the IRC? And then I had to trip over myself because I really wasn't in the IRC at that point. And so I was like, well, I have a handle that I use, but I've signed in there like twice. So you won't recognize it. And you're like, well, you're on camera right now, and they would like to know who they're looking at. So I was like, oh, well, then I'll tell you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do ask that a lot because people come up to me and they're like, you know, they know me, but
right.
I don't know them.
Who are you, and why do I care?
Yeah, if I can associate an IRC nick, then I might figure stuff out. But
right.
Yeah, so that was the year that a really bad bug was going around, and Dylan got it first, and then Bella, and then Abby. Wait, no, I didn't have Bella at that point, so it was Dylan, and then Abby, and then me, and then Dill again, and then me, and Chris got it like at about 1 p.m. Mm-hmm. Like, it was horrible. And I had ended up leaving around 3 because he said he was okay, but as soon as I got home, which it's like over an hour and a half drive or about, I got home and he's like, I can't go back in there. I'm in the truck throwing up. Like, I just can't go back in there. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll grab the kids and, you know, skip dinner and I will come get you. We were going to leave our truck there at Linux Fest Northwest. Mm-hmm. So I get there and he's still in the truck and I go in to try to pack up all the gear, and Matt, thankfully, Matt and Alex and Noah and a couple other people had vamped enough on the live stream for us. But we started shutting things down, and Noah's like, you know, I can help. And I'm like, great, because I don't know anything about, you know, this technical setup.
Yeah, so we pulled all the stuff down. It was and we got it all packed up and out to your car. Mm-hmm. And then somebody said, well, I think Brian 2040 is gonna follow Angela home. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If he's going to follow her to her house in Chris's truck, how's he going to get back to Bellingham, which is where we were staying? And well, actually, we were staying in Seattle that night. But how is he going to get back there? So I thought, and then I started thinking, and I'm like, well, I had nothing better to do because we were there for Linux Fest Northwest. That was over, so my plans were to go sit at the hotel room for the rest of the day. So I figured, well, I'll go back I'll just follow you back to your house. I'll grab Brian, bring him back to Bellingham, and then I'll go back to Seattle where I was going to stay. Mm-hmm. Well, because we were doing a 3-car thing
procession,
you wanted to make sure that we were in contact. So you asked me for my phone number.
Yes.
Well, the problem was my phone number doesn't text. It was a Google Voice thing that forwarded to my actual cell phone number, but that phone had died. So I read you my cell phone number, and I was like, that's fine. I'll just check it in Google Voice. Well, then it dawned on me, my smartphone is dead. I don't have access to data, so you won't be able to text me. Mm-hmm. So that was when I had already signed up for Ting, and that was before I was still testing it because it was right at the beginning. So I pulled my Ting phone out and gave you that number.
Yep.
And then that's what we used. So Ting kind of saved the day that day.
Yeah. So let me before I forget, before Brian 2040 got in our truck, I wiped down every surface that I could with a baby wipe. Not an antibacterial one, but a baby wipe regardless. Like I tried to make sure he didn't get sick. He got sick.
Oh, did he really?
He got very sick. No. He got sick like the next day. Oh, no. It was, probably the best weight loss he's had. But anyway, so Chris needs a Sprite because he has been throwing up like crazy and is super dehydrated. Can't eat anything though because he's still dry heaving and stuff. And so we drive to the nearest gas station because Noah needed gas anyway. So I park the car and I'm about to go in and get Sprite. I see Noah pull up. I walk up to the pump and I put my card in there. And I tell you what, that guy practically pushed me out of the way. He canceled my transaction and would not let me pay for his gas.
Well, so earlier, back in the Linux Action Show, we were talking about ways to contribute. And I was talking about how I'd previously had this huge problem with wanting to give back to the community. So here, I'm like, here is the host of the Linux Action Show and the person that supports him. And now they're in a time of need. Like, the least I can do is pay for the $21 in gas to get them, there and back. So yeah, I wasn't gonna. And then you tried to take that away from me. I couldn't let that happen.
Yeah, you didn't.
But we got to your house, and then the problem was, up until that point, I did a really good job of keeping it together and concentrating on the mission, right? But then we got to your house, and I kind of lost it. Because I saw the studio for the first time. I'm like, the studio.
I'm in the studio.
This is where the master works.
I wish I had the pictures. I took pictures of you and Brian 2040 in there. I might have them on Facebook.
Oh, geez, going through your Facebook photos.
I know.
It's nuts.
Wow, thanks.
So we get into nuts in a good way. I mean, you post a lot of cute pictures. So we get back to her house, and I lose it. I'm like, oh, the studio. So I walk in there, and then I'm looking, and I'm trying to take in all this information. I'm like, oh, that's where the lights are, and that's how that works, and that box is connected to that monitor, and that does that. And then I look over, and her kids are screaming, and Brian is the same way. He's sitting there, he's happy, he's sitting down. We get our pictures taken, and Alex is goofing around, and everyone's having a good time. And then I think it was Dylan was just crying, and I'm like, oh my God, she's pregnant. She has 2 kids, and I have 2 kids, so I know, and they're roughly the same age as your kids, so I know what that's like. And I'm like, man, she doesn't want us here. She wants us out of her house. So I grab Alex. I'm like, we're leaving. Well, then Brian wanted to stay and talk. So I'm like, we got to go. Everyone, we have to go. We have to go. We have to leave. And then we left.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't pregnant, but.
You were. You were totally pregnant.
Was I?
Yes.
2013?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. I was. Yes. Holy moly.
Holy cow.
That was a lot. Okay, but I was not thinking, oh my gosh, get out of here. I wasn't thinking that.
Regardless, you had a sick husband and 2 crying kids. Yeah. And that was not the appropriate time to have.
Yeah, it was hard because Chris just went straight inside and just passed out on the couch, and so it was But we got everything unloaded. That was a great thing, getting everything out of my car too, because I really needed that. But so that is how I met Noah. But it was great. It was seriously, I couldn't believe, I already knew that the community was awesome. I mean, I'd been doing the FauxShow for several years by that point. But this was just, how selfless you and Alex and Brian 2040 was just, and Matt, just amazing. So.
Well, we appreciated the opportunity to give back. So. It was a win-win.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company?
All right. So I used to work for a medical software company, and when I got there, they were using all Windows, and I got there and I said, I don't like Windows. So I think we should try Linux. And so I had tried it at home with some of the software that we were using, and I found that it worked really well. But I wasn't quite sure I was ready to implement that at the corporate level until my boss came to me and he said, we're buying a new server, and here's the Windows. It was one of the rare times where we didn't get the server pre-installed with Windows. It just came and they had purchased Windows, but it wasn't installed. And I said, I'll just install Linux, and I would just want to see if it works. So I plugged it in, and because it wasn't in production at the time. And we used it for a little bit, and what we found was it was remarkably stable. It was way better, and the performance was better than Windows. So I went to him and I said, I don't know a lot about this, and I've certainly never tried it, definitely at this scale, but I think we should give this a shot. And he said, all right. And so we put it into production, and it never came back out. And then over time, we switched all the clients to Linux as well. The clients being the machines that connected to it. Not clients as in people that were paying us. Right. So we switched those out, and then I got to a point where I said, I'm never going back to Windows. And then when the company got bought out, and then there was a push to go back to Windows, I said, no, I'm not going to do this. So I said, I want to make my money a different way. And I thought, there are all these places that had worked with my former employer that were now on these Linux systems, and they needed support, especially if the company was going to transition away from that. So I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I will just start my own company, and I'll just start doing it on the side. So the first couple months, they would just write me a check directly. That wasn't working for a number of reasons, and so then we formed a company, and then the company grew a little bit, and then we got more work, and then now I have 6 or 7 guys that, depending on the time of the year, that work for us and do a great job, and that's primarily what we do is we push Linux solutions for people, and Linux solutions to replace Windows solutions, not Linux solutions that were designed for Linux necessarily. So hotels that want to use, they have their guest kiosks, right? That's a perfect place for Linux. And a lot of places where people are using Windows with Site Kiosk, we'll just rip that all out and install Linux. And it's been really fun, and it's rewarding, and I get something new to do every single day. And I get to see firsthand people changing, giving up Windows, switching to Linux, and I feel like I'm a part of that change, and that's a rewarding experience. So that's what I do.
Awesome. So another thing that Noah's been doing for us over the years now is on-site fest and con interviews, and he will continue to do that as the co-host of Linux Action Show, which will make a really neat dynamic, I think. What fests so far this year are you definitely going to?
Is it too ambitious to say all of them? Because I think I'm doing all of them. Well, because I'm for sure doing Scale. That's definitive. And then I think the very next one is Linux Fest Northwest, which obviously we're doing.
Right.
And then right after that is OSCON, which has also been basically...
well, there's BSDCan in June.
That's not a Linux thing, though. I mean, I guess I could do it.
No, I'm not asking. I'm just saying in the timeline of things as people are putting on their calendar what they can or can't do.
I don't think I'll do if there's a reason for me to do it, I do BSD. Otherwise, I would just I'll probably just stick to the Linux ones. Yeah. But OSCON, I think, is a definitive thing. I had so much fun at Self, I'll never miss Self again. And then I suppose Ohio. That will kind of depend, I suppose. Yeah.
So we did Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio.
We did Ohio last October.
Year, but I think you guys are going to rotate, right?
Yeah, that's the understanding I have.
We'll see how that goes. And then it's in the works with a couple people in the Mumble Room that I think we're going to try and do DEF CON this year, which will be something new.
DEF CON?
DEF CON is a hacker conference. So, it's penetration.
What does that stand for? Penetration.
That I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it is it's a cool conference, and there's a lot of really cool people, and it sets a precedent for the rest of the year about security measures and stuff like that. So I think it'll be really great to have a presence there, and I've already reached out to some of the guys. I haven't heard back yet, so hopefully we'll
Where is that one?
It's in Las Vegas.
Sweet. I want to go to that one.
Yeah. That'll be pretty cool.
That would be great.
So, yeah, if you know of any other Linux conferences, I guess there's a central one in Texas. I'll have to find out where that is. But if you know where they are, then you head over to jupiterbroadcasting.com, click on the contact link, and let us know.
Actually, I think Eric compiled a list.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to reach out to him and find out.
We will have to ask him where that is. So,
DEF CON is a military term. So is it the defense condition level? Is that what it stands for? And so they raise or lower it depending on what the perceived threat to our country is.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it should stand for something else, like for the hackers.
Well, I think it stands for the defense condition. I think is what the word DEF CON stands for. I think.
Here we go. DEF CON hacking conference. Let's see. No. What?
I was wrong.
There.
I lied. Yeah, DEF CON. There you go.
I don't know. Looks pretty cool though. Doesn't say. It's August. Wait. There's DEF CON 23, 24, and 25.
Yeah, they're sequentially numbered, I believe.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, the years. Wow.
Yep.
Okay, so August 6th through 9th. Interesting. Chris went to Vegas early August.
Did he?
Years ago. Not for DEF CON though.
Yeah. It's great. And I'm not exaggerating this in the least. I will purchase a computer or at least a hard drive. It will go into my computer with a fresh install of Linux, and every smartphone, every tablet I have will be being left at home. You don't bring that stuff to DEF CON.
Yeah.
It'll be a clean device, and then once I get back, they're all getting wiped again. So, and that's not an exaggeration.
Wow. No kidding. Wow.
Heaven's Revenge says DEF CON is defense conference, which probably makes more sense than the military.
Okay.
Military thing. I don't know.
All right. So we don't want to spill the beans on all the future Linux Action Show ideas and thoughts, but there's one in particular that involves me that I think maybe you'd like to tell people about.
So, as some of you might have guessed based on the phone call and some of my other stories, I just can't stand it when we have iPads and stuff, you know? So one of the things I want to do is I'm like, how can the wife of the world's biggest Linux podcast be using a Mac? And there must be a better way to do it. So at Ohio, I asked you, I said, tell me what it is you do on your Mac. And I feverishly wrote down and tried to be as discreet as possible. And then I went home and bought an all-in-one that had a large hard drive in it. And I installed Linux. And then I tried to replicate your workflow. And I think I got it down. And we'll see. So what I want to do is I want to bring that back to Seattle. I want to set it up in your home. And then I want you to try it and see what you think and see if we can make a Linux user out of you. Okay. Yeah. I see skepticism in your face.
I do. Yeah. Yes, just because. Yeah.
We'll see.
The thing is, like, I think it's not a problem for me to use Linux if it's all set up.
Right.
But if something needs modified or if I have to set it up myself, it's not going to happen. Like, I've tried. It's not as logical.
I have a feeling. I think I can find someone in your house to help you with that. I think. Don't think that'll be an issue.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
What else?
Do you want to talk about Google Glass?
Let's talk about Google Glass. So I was at LinuxCon, and there was a guy giving a fascinating presentation on migrating Google servers from one operating system to the other. And it had absolutely nothing to do with Google Glass, but he had Google Glass. And after some discussion, I found my way into an invitation. And I got invited into the program, went out to California. And if you've ever been to Google, Google is like no other place that you've ever been to, right? When I go into guest bathrooms, higher end places, a lot of times you'll see like a bathroom attendant that has like, they'll squirt the soap on and they have like the cologne and stuff like that.
Right.
Sometimes they'll have like deodorant or feminine products in the bathroom. Never have I seen a shower. Google has a shower in their guest bathroom. In case you just want to freshen up before you go take your tour of Google, you can have a shower. They have shampoo. They have conditioner.
Oh, for guests?
It's like a guest bathroom is like a full-on bathroom. Huh. It's amazing.
Because I was going to say, for employees, it would make sense because they probably don't let them go home unless their work's done.
Right.
Just kidding.
Actually, I think Google's pretty liberal.
I know they are. Yeah.
But we walk through, and he's like the girl she was my glass guy, who was I have a picture of her. She was a fabulous host, and she walks me back and she goes, "Here's the snack bar. Would you like a snack?" Well, their snack bar is like this gourmet restaurant buffet thing. Like everything's free.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was an incredible experience. And so we get back and she sits down. She goes, "So I'm going to teach you about glass. So you can walk up to the wall and you pick out which glass you want. And it's neat because the way they stock them is they're all like, you know how you always want to play with the display and it always looks cooler than opening up the box and peeling all the plastic off? Well, Google doesn't do that. They have it on the display and you get to have that one. And then they put another one for the next
nice.
person. Yeah. And then you try on all the different colors to see which one you like the best. And then you sit down and they open up a Pixel, which is a $1,500 Chromebook. And which is the first time I'd ever seen the Pixel. So I was playing with that to see if I could get Linux to work on it and stuff like that. And after we got done with that, then we went back she showed me how the glass worked and how to use it. And then I got done and I walked back out to my car and I get into my car and the little Maps application pops up and says, "Would you like directions back to your hotel?" I'm like, yes, I would, Google. I would like directions back to my hotel. And I used it to get back to the hotel. And it was fun because being in California, it was beautiful. And so I got a chance to take a bunch of pictures and do a bunch of cool things. But the overall experience was amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal.
You ready to show that?
Yeah, just about. I take a lot of pictures.
And who you talking to?
Yeah. I don't. You know what's funny? I bet I don't even amount to half
of what I take.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I'm trying to find I tried his Google Glass on when we were at Ohio Fest, but I'm not seeing it here because I don't know why. But here's Noah wearing his Google Glass at Ohio Fest.
Yeah, I was balling.
Me and Blaster. That's such a funny picture. We had balloons.
Oh no, I don't.
That's
have
Linux
it.
Fest.
I don't have it anymore, I guess.
Aw.
Well, I had them, but the thing was I was experimenting when I first got it. I wanted to know that I could take the pictures off of Google+.
Uh-huh.
So I was experimenting with it, and I think one of the first things I did was I pulled them off of Google+ so I could see if they would regenerate back on there.
Oh, I see.
But they don't, which is good. Except
Yeah.
it's bad because now I don't have it. She was a super nice girl, whoever her name was. Yeah, don't remember.
Okay, so what do you use it for mainly then?
Pictures of my kids.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't
taking pictures, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing is, and you will understand this. Kids make cute faces for like 3 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
And I have not trained my children like you've trained your children to like hold ridiculously adorable poses for a long time so that you can get like multiple shots from multiple different frames. Yes. They don't do that. In fact, if I ask them to take a picture, they get mad and they're like, "What, Dad? I don't want to do this."
There it is.
Yeah, there's Google Glass, but it didn't work for you though, right?
Yeah. So here's the problem. I'm blind. My eyesight is too bad. I had to kind of try to wear my glasses with it. So if I wore contacts, it'd be fine. And
they do make, if you had prescription lenses, they have a lens, and then the lens just snaps in to Google Glass, and then you have lenses. Those are my smoke ones. But
nice. Now, are you afraid they're going to stop support for Google Glass?
I'm petrified. I'm petrified because they keep telling us in the Glass form that they're not discontinuing support and that they're going to have it. And to Google's credit, I have 2 products from Google. One is my Glass and one is my Pixel. And both of them have phenomenal hardware support. Mm-hmm. Like it breaks. I want to say this on here? Yeah, I'll say it on here. My son was jumping up and down on my backpack. And I came down and I'm like, oh no, my Pixel's in there. I open it, doesn't come on. I'm like, oh no. So I call Google.
Wait,
and I'm like,
what is your Pixel?
It's a laptop from Google.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So a very expensive laptop from Google. So anyway, I call him and I'm like, here's the thing. There's, some physical damage. How do you, and they're like, oh, we'll send you a new one. I'm like, right. Well, there's some signs of, because he like jumped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, there's some external signs of physical. And they're like, oh, we'll send you a new one. Are you sure? He's like, yeah, we'll send you a new one. They overnight me a new one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you sent the old one back?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and Google Glass too. I've had it break 2 or 3 times because things happen, and I call Google and they're like, "Yeah." Now it'll be interesting to see what happens after the warranty is officially out now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. But I've been watching carefully on the forums, and when people have had problems, they still support. They still seem to swap them out. So hopefully Google will be good to me. But we'll see. There's Chris.
There's Chris sporting the Linux Action Show swag shirt and Google Glass.
Yeah, the first time he tried it, he was a little bit more he was more involved because he was doing it here in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's Noah being a boss.
Yeah, Chris was jealous that you didn't take a picture of him, but he cheated. He put his feet down and then on the other way.
Yep. Yeah, he went the other way, which didn't. Oops.
It's not as cool.
What did I was trying to. Oh, yeah, I was going to have you there. Explain
the masturbating straw.
Yeah.
So
your face.
Well, here's the thing. You, for some reason, you are unfamiliar with childhood pranks, apparently, or ridiculous.
Well, I didn't have a brother.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem right there.
Okay.
So in this sense, I'll act as your brother. This is what if you had a brother, what he would have taught you.
Yes.
Is if you take a straw and you seal it and then you open the seal and push the straw down, fluid will go into the straw and then you immediately cap it. So now you have this much. Mm-hmm. Then you take the whole thing, open up, and immediately push down. You get a little bit more fluid in, and eventually the fluid starts spitting out the top, and it resembles something. So we call it the masturbating straw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yes.
And Blaster's like, I need to know.
Yeah. Yeah. That was me demonstrating the masturbating straw. He was very interested.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, all right. I think. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. That's me in a nutshell.
That is Noah. I actually didn't see if there are any questions in the chat room. Let's see. Get him to share a personal story or tidbit, something that would not come out during a regular last. Oh, that was from Chris.
Oh. Let's see. A personal story. I got tons of stories. I don't know. I'd have to think about a topic, though.
What about some interesting family dynamic, like with your dad?
Ooh, interesting family dynamics. So my dad is from India, which means he has a ridiculously adorable accent, which can be funny at times. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Interesting family dynamics. Well, when my mother-in-law got married to my father-in-law, one of the first things he said was I was over at his house, and she said she didn't want a TV in the bedroom, so he wasn't going to put a TV in the bedroom. But then Then he decided he wanted a TV in the bedroom, and she was at work. So he's like, hey, you know what? You should come over and help me put a TV in the bedroom. And I'm like, didn't Janet say she didn't want a TV in the bedroom? Yeah, we're going to do it anyway. I'm like, all right. So we went, and we had this big, long drill bit. It was like a 6-foot long drill bit that we were going through the basement, through the floor, so we could get the cable to run, right?
Oh, my gosh.
She definitely walked in with us with the drill like through the ceiling. She's like, what are you guys doing? And my father-in-law was like, oh, we're putting a TV in the bedroom. That didn't go over well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a TV in the bedroom?
There's now a TV in the bedroom. Yeah. Oh, yes. Do you want me to tell the LFNW drunk girl story?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know enough of the story.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Take it away.
We're at Linux Fest Northwest, and we sit down to get something to eat, and Chris goes up to the counter to go get menus, and he comes back with a girl. Yeah. So he sits down at the table, and this girl sits down, and she starts talking, drunk. Really drunk, and she continues to drink and continues to get more drunk, and I think she was really, really infatuated with
Alex.
Our geeks in general, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it was funny because there was a couple people at the table that she sat down and they went, "Girl."
Yeah, I noticed that actually. Like,
but then there was the rest. Most people were, we were pretty hospitable, so we were talking to her, and so we're going back and forth, and she's getting drunker and drunker, and eventually she goes, well, I need to go home. Well, actually, she started eating Chris's wings. Like, she would reach on his plate, and she would start, like, he had already eaten them, but there was a little bit of meat left over, so she's like sucking on them, and so she gets done eating Chris's wings, and she's ready to go home. And she gets done. She's like, I gotta go home. I'm gonna go drive home. I'm like, you're not driving home. She's like, no, I've only hit a couple things when I drive drunk, and they're always stationary things. And I'm like, that's worse because moving things are, Mm-hmm. So I told her, I said, you have 3 options. I will get you a hotel room, or I will call you a cab, or I will take you home. But you're not driving home. Those are your 3 options. So she goes up. So I grabbed her keys. And she goes up to complain to the front desk clerk of the hotel. And she's like, that guy took my keys. He doesn't think I should drive home. And I'm perfectly capable of driving. And he doesn't want me to drive home. So you should go tell him to take those keys back. So the guy comes over and he's like, do you know her? And I'm like, never met her before in my life. But if she like kills a kid, I'm going to feel bad tomorrow. And I don't have anything better to do. Mm-hmm. So he goes, no, you should probably let him drive her home. So she's like, all right, I give up. Drive me home. So I have to get back, though, to the hotel. Mm-hmm. So I tell Q5, hey, you follow me, and then you give me a ride back. And he goes, no, I can't. I have to give Eric a ride back to the hotel. I'm like, fine. Go give Eric a ride back to the hotel. I'll use this fancy little feature in Viber to tell you where I am. He goes,
right, because last year it was Viber. This year,
yeah, Telegram. Yeah, Telegram. So he goes, okay, yeah, that's fine. You can do that. All right. So we leave. He wasn't very happy about it, but he did it anyway. So I get in the car, and I start driving. I'm like, all right, tell me how to get home. She goes, drive that way. I'm like, all right. So I get on the road. I assume she knows where she lives, right? What's up?
There, Q5 just posted the picture of her, and
oh yeah, him and Chase.
I don't have a way to get it up. Can you get it on your screen?
Sure.
That is great.
Is it in the?
Yeah. It's in IRC.
So I start driving.
No, it's in IRC. Sorry.
So I start driving, and eventually she tells me, "Oh, did he do it to you though, directly, or did he production chat?"
No, it's in the main chat room.
Oh, in the main chat room. Okay. So anyway, so she goes, so we start driving, and all of a sudden I realize, like, we're on this really weird road, and she tells me, turn right here, except where she's telling me to turn is, like, some sort of convenience shop. So I have a video of her drunk as a skunk.
Oh, there's her wearing her Google Glass. Yeah, Q5
So anyway, so we get to this like convenience shop place, and I'm like, what are we doing here? And she comes out with a 6-pack of beer. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I thought I was taking you home. She's like, well, I am, but I need some beer. So I'm like, all right. So she gets some beer. Yeah, that was her. She was eating her wings.
There she is.
Yeah, there she is. So we get back in the car, and I'm like, all right, tell me how to get there. I'm like, can I get your address? I don't know my address. I'm like, what? How do you not know your address? So she goes, I just don't, I know how to get there though. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, do you have a friend or a family member or something? She's like, I'm staying with my boyfriend's brother. I'm like, well, can I have his phone number? So I call him. I'm like, hi. It's like 4 a.m. and I really want to get home, and I'm driving around with, what's your name? Oh yeah. I'm driving around with her, and I don't know how to get to your house. So he gives me the address. I put it into the GPS. So I text Q5 that address, right? Mm-hmm. He comes back and he goes, that address doesn't exist on that street. And I'm like, well, I don't know. She's taking now I believe that we're going there. So we arrive at the place, and he texts me back and he goes, scratch that. That address doesn't exist anywhere in the state. And I'm like, are you sure this is your address? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, That's what they tell me, man. He's like, well, I can't find you if I can't put it into my GPS.
Yeah.
So I use the little location ping, and he's like, that's nowhere near that address. And I'm like, whatever. It's just that's where I am.
Yeah.
So now we're at this house, and this guy comes out, and he's like, this is what he says. He goes, I push shit for a living. That's what he said. And I was trying to find a socially acceptable way to laugh because it was funny, but I didn't want to be rude. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to find a socially acceptable way to laugh while Alex goes, what do you mean? Because he's like interested. So the guy starts explaining how he like moves cow poop around for a living.
Oh, literally?
Yeah, literally.
Nice.
So then the guy goes, you want to come in and have some moonshine? I didn't really want to go into their house and have moonshine, but apparently Alex wanted to have moonshine.
And she was up for it,
She was up for it. So we all went in, and Alex had some moonshine, which he said was actually pretty good. So we come back out of the house, and I kind of want to go home now. I'm tired, and I have to get up the next morning at because Chris wants to be there at the crack of dawn to start the show, and I'm like, so I'm ready to get home. So finally, Q5 kids up. I'm like, let's go, Alex. So we get in the car, and we drive away, and I get to the hotel. I get into bed. I curl up. I'm falling asleep, and I go, crap, Alex. And he goes, what? And I'm like, definitely forgot all the production gear in her car because I brought it down to the end of the hotel.
Yep.
And he goes, well, I don't know this girl's name. I don't know her phone number. So I start Facebook stalking because I'm pretty good at Facebook stalking, and I find her on Facebook. So I send her a message, and I'm like, hey, I forgot all my stuff in your car, and I really need it tomorrow, so can I come get it? And she doesn't answer. And I'm like, well, I know where she lives. I guess I'll just go back and get it. So we drive all the way back to her house, which is like a 40-minute drive each way. We get to her house, and they're like, hey, you guys came back for some more moonshine. Not really, actually. I just wanted my stuff out of your car. So I get all the stuff out of her car. So I thought. I get back to the thing. We do the episode, and I realize I forgot my sweatshirt, my last 300 sweatshirt. So I send her another Facebook message, and she is such a sweetheart. She packs it up and mails it to me.
Oh, that's
nice.
Nice.
So I did get my sweatshirt back.
Yeah.
But she was an awesome person. We had a lot of fun. Maybe somewhat at her expense, but it was a it was a blast. And the funniest thing that Q5 said to me the entire night after the whole thing was over, and he goes, "Let me get this straight. You took directions from an intoxicated woman and expected me to get there." Yeah, and I said yes because I did.
Yep.
It was a mistake.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good story. I'm not sure anything will really top that this year, but going to so many cons and fests, maybe, just maybe. So I guess the next thing we'll see you on site for a fest is Scale in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was thinking about potentially coming back either next week or the week after. The problem is the week after is Valentine's Day, and I have a feeling I'm finding more and more a backlog of work next week. So
sure,
looks like either of those aren't going to work out.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that is it. If you have further questions for Noah, you can email, you must have Noah at jupiterbroadcasting.com. Yep. Mm-hmm. Or are you on Reddit? Are you a Redditor?
I am. Colonel Linux on Reddit, Colonel Linux on Twitter, Colonel Linux on Facebook.
IRC. Come on.
IRC, Colonel Linux and IRC.
And So, and then if you have any questions for any of the shows on the network, you can go to jupiterbroadcasting.com and go to contact us, and there will be a whole little woo-foo form that you can fill out, and you can choose the show that you want to ask the question to. So that is it for this episode of the Faux Show. We'll see you next week. We might not see you next week, actually.
You might not be doing
Faux Show next week. Yeah. No, I don't think we'll have a live production next Sunday. So we'll see you the week after. Did you enjoy this Faux Show? Well, guess what? You can catch more at jupiterbroadcasting.com and subscribe to the weekly RSS feed.
Yes, the rope is a self-replicating substance.
Oh, hey, who's that glass hole with Angela? She's creepy uncle.